Morning, Raptors Freak here. Friday morning, we're about to play Boston in our second game of the year in Boston, and it's their home opener, so they're really going to want to win. And they just lost a game to New York in double overtime in a really close game. It's very impressive that New York won. And Celtics are really going to want to win tonight. This is going to be a really tough game to win. And honestly, I don't like our chances to win tonight just because of how disorganized we looked in the first game. But if we can come out there and win and really overtake the Celtics good tonight, it's about winning small battles first. It's about getting little small victories in matchups and playing against people and accumulating those victories over the game to become a big win overall. Because if you get too much in your head right now, it may seem too overwhelming, especially for these youngsters on the team. You got to really take it play by play and just try and beat them in each little instant. And the thing is, in the last game, we were beating them in a lot of instances, but we weren't taking care of the ball well enough after we beat them, or we just didn't get the ball to go in the basket when we should have gotten it to go in the basket. Like easy shots were not going in against Washington on Wednesday, and that was really tough. Just looking over the injuries real quick is, we still have Yuta and Pascal out, and I'd love for both of them to be back as soon as possible because honestly, we need them both. And on the other side, it looks like Al Horford may not be back from COVID yet in time to play tonight. And the other names are it's Josh Richardson and Marcus Smart, and they're both day-to-days, but they're probably going to play, those two guys. So the Celtics are pretty full strength. They didn't have Jaylen Brown when we played them in the preseason. He had COVID at that time, but now he's back from COVID, and boy, is he back. In that double overtime game against the Knicks, he got his career high, 46 points. And the other thing I noticed about that Knicks game is the Celtics are running a very tight rotation. They only played 9 guys, and a lot of their guys played like 45 minutes. So they're playing their core guys to start. And it looks like it's going to be, Marcus Smart with Tatum and Brown, and the 2 Williams is the guys that they're starting right now. Now, because of that length on that team, I'd really love it if the Raptors would match length in their starting lineup tonight. I really, really, truly believe that we need to stop starting 2 small guards. We do not have Kyle Lowry anymore. We want to start Fred. So Dragic really should be a calming veteran presence off the bench. Like if we're having a problem with reining in our rookies or something like that, he should be off the bench with those guys to be leadership that way. He shouldn't be in the backcourt with Fred because it puts us at a disadvantage that we don't need. And he's not helping us in a premium together. Their synergy and chemistry together isn't good enough to put them out there like that because the detriments and weaknesses of it way outweigh the positives we're getting from it. So we need to start a tall lineup. And this is my proposed tall lineup for tonight. Like if Nick Nurse does this, oh my gosh, I'd be so happy. But there's no guarantees. We don't know what he's going to do. He's a wild card. Even Boston doesn't know who he's going to start tonight. But if I was Nick Nurse, this is who I would start tonight. I would start Fred VanVleet, and then I would start OG at the shooting guard. I'd put OG at the shooting guard. Good morning, MK47. It's game day, baby. Let's get hyped. Put OG at the shooting guard, and then have at your forward Scotty Barnes, Chris Boucher, and Khem Birch. You put Fred out there with those 4 guys tonight to start. We have an established veteran starting lineup with 1 rookie. We got 4 guys who know our system well, who played it at a high level last year and can do it with the length. Chris Boucher at starting power forward tonight would be beautiful with Khem Birch up front because we're going to deal with Robert Williams. We're going to deal with Grant Williams. We're going to deal with Jason Tatum. These are long guys, so we need to match them with length. And if you put OG at the shooting guard, we have length in our starting lineup. But if you put Goran Dragic at shooting guard, we don't have length in our starting lineup, Nick Nurse. So you really need to consider who you start at that shooting guard tonight, that you can go really deep with length in your lineup and have Fred out there still. We need Fred to get his old nickname back, and that's Steady Freddy. We need Freddie to be steady. He needs to get out there and hit shots and be a calming influence on the team, somebody who's a rock for this team to lean on when they're in trouble. Because we're going to need you, Fred, to do that. And it may not be that we need you to score or go to the basket and make a tough layup. It may be that we need you to make a play, to set somebody up, to read the right play and do the right things and get a tough rebound as a short guy. Do all that kind of stuff, Fred. That's what we may need you to do tonight. All right, MK47, having Yuta for this one would be nice. He would be nice. He matches up really well with the Boston players. They're similar kind of body type and quickness and stuff. Like him guarding and playing against Tatum and Brown doesn't look bad to me. I think he can do well to irritate them. But I think most of our team can. And if we saw anything in the first game that worked, it was when we went positionless with Delano in the game later. And I really want to get into that earlier in the game tonight because I feel like we have to get an establishment of defense right away. We need to get an establishment of down in the paint right away. And we need to win that battle tonight. We need to win the rebounds battle against the Celtics. We need to dominate the paint against the Celtics tonight. And the way we do that is by having our length out there as much as possible. I just love the idea of Birch being out there to start because he's strong. He's tough. He gets defensive rebounds. He gets offensive rebounds. And then if you have Boucher as your roving help defender for shot blocks and also just the coverage of the wingspan on the court with all these guys, with OG at the 2 guard and Scotty Barnes playing the 3, that's a nasty team right there. If Nick's trying to find combinations, I really think you should try this one tonight. And I'm going to tell you what, if our team gets off to a really bad start tonight and is having trouble starting at the beginning of the game again, what I want them to do is I want them to bring Delano in ASAP. He can change the game that quickly. If he can come in there and do what he did when he came in against Washington, we could have a good change like quickly if we're coming out stale. Because that's the thing. We can't afford to start the game stale with no confidence because our team has a confidence rattled problem right now. Our confidence is rattled to a degree, and we need to go out there and prove something tonight. We need to go out there tonight and show that we're nothing like the team we were on Wednesday night. That kind of shooting is just an aberration. It's something that just won't happen to us normally at all. It's just something that shouldn't happen. Like we shouldn't shoot that bad. We really, really shouldn't shoot that bad because we have high percentage shooters near the basket, and when we have open shots, our guys can hit threes. It's just that, I think part of the reason why we lost the first game was opening night jitters and emotion. That whole beginning of the game where they announced all the players' names and they made a big deal of it being back in Toronto, that is all a distraction. That is all an emotional drain. And basically, everything was sucked out of the building once we started losing. It was like we got so up, oh, yeah, they're back, woo, and then it was just sucked out of the building. And when that kind of energy vacuum happens, it really, really hurts our team. It really hurts our team. So I once again pledge to all Raptor fans that go to home games this year. It doesn't matter what the score is. It doesn't matter what's going on in the game. We could be up big. We could be down low. We could be pretty close in score. Just do the defense chant no matter what. Because what happened on Wednesday night is the Washington Wizards team proved that they could shut our crowd up. They didn't just beat our team. They beat our crowd. And we don't have to let them ever beat our crowd because we decide when we shut up or not. So when you are an obedient little crowd and, we got to be quiet because we're losing, they win even more. So think about that. Next time you go to the game, if you go to the game and you start hearing a quiet part or you start to feel the game turn, that's when you need to get louder. That's when you need to get more involved as a crowd. Not like receding, like, oh, we're not that good. Ooh, I'm going to go get popcorn. Oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom. That's when you need to get more engaged. That's when you need to get louder. That's when they need us. That's when the Raptors need us the most. All right. Anyway, enough about the last game. Let's focus on tonight. Interesting news yesterday. Enes Kanter is a very unique NBA player. He's a very political, hot topic kind of guy. I mean, between his relationship with his home country and how he is a political refugee of his own country here in North America. Like, he can't go home to his home country because of things he said politically. And he's right. I believe in what he says and his beliefs, and even what he said yesterday. Yes, I believe him too. But he is a hot topic. And what he's talking about this week is Tibet. And now he's gone and pissed off the whole country of China. So now China is not going to air any of the Boston Celtics games this year. So we're not going to be on TV in China tonight, guys, because Enes Kanter said some things about the leader of China and what is going on with Tibet. So, he has a lot of enemies around the world, and he just made a lot more. But this is a similar thing to what happened with Daryl Morey, Houston Rockets GM, like a couple years ago, when he said something and China just decided to cut all the Rockets games out of their schedule for their whole country. See, they're using it as like economic power because they realize it's a big money for the NBA teams to be shown over there. That's a lot of audience. So it's a weird, dumb little thing. It probably doesn't really matter to the game or anything like that, but that's an interesting thing to note that is happening with the Boston Celtics right now, that Kanter really pissed off China. So, let's see what else is going on with the team. Yesterday, there were a couple of press conferences with Goran and I believe who was the other one? I think the other one was Fred or something. But they're just basically saying, like, look, this is one game of 82. There's this. We're gonna get a little bit of different everything. Like I'm saying, it's gonna be like a Kinder Egg, guys. Every game we're gonna open the egg, and some nights we're gonna get a puzzle. Some nights we're gonna get a puzzle in our egg, like we did on Wednesday, and we're not going to be happy. But some nights we're going to open that egg and we're going to get a nice little Porsche. We're going to get a nice little jet airplane. We're going to get something good in that egg on some nights. It's just we don't know which egg we're going to open up when we start the game with the team. It could be a good egg. It could be a really good egg, like a cool little dinosaur or something like that. But it also could be just like a dumb sticker. Yeah. So we got to see what happens tonight. I know that we are going to be up for tonight because our guys don't do this. When things like what happened on Wednesday night happen, they bounce back and they say, look, this isn't us. And oh man, I know Fred and OG have so much to prove tonight. Like I fully expect OG to come out there and on fire tonight, like making everything, because not only is he embarrassed by the game on Wednesday, but he's got to go head to head with Tatum and Brown. And he, that's a competition. There was some trash talking in the preseason game between Tatum and OG. So there's going to be a bit of a rivalry face-off tonight between those two. I'd like to see OG get a little competitive. Yeah, maybe get a little aggressive, like aggressive OG when we've seen him like that at times, like whether it was in the playoff series with the Celtics in the bubble or something like that, where he gets angry. Like, angry OG's fun. Because angry OG does some things that normal OG maybe won't do sometimes, like go to the basket and just throw it down on him nasty. So I really want to see angry OG tonight, or just fire OG. OG with fire. You know what I'm talking about. You've seen him play like that before. He's good at cruising, but when he has emotion behind what he's doing, it's something else. And Fred, just be consistent. Just be the watermark, the benchmark for our confidence. Just be the guy that holds it down for us. Because right now, I didn't realize how much we're going to miss Kyle Lowry until this first game or so. Because Kyle brings respect with us. Kyle brings, the other team respects us. There's a certain level of atmosphere around Kyle that he brings that we're lacking this year. And we really need Fred to bring that attitude, that road warrior attitude. We need that tonight more than ever. Fred's got to be a road warrior attitude tonight and teach these guys. Good morning, Paul. Good to see you this morning. Beating Boston would be huge for his team. Oh, my gosh. Yes, it would. It would erase a lot of things. But this is the thing. Boston's like us. They lost their first game, and they're hungry to do the same things that we're trying to do right now, prove that they're a winning team. And they may be a better team than us right now just because, I mean, they just scored like 130 points in a double overtime with the Knicks and lost. And, you know, that's a lot of scoring. And we just showed we have a hard time scoring. So we really need to prove some stuff tonight. And I think the key is the starting lineup. We need to get off to a good start. So, Nick, don't mess around with it tonight. Don't put these young guys in there wild, too many of them. Scotty's good because Scotty can play within the system and not hurt us so much. But Precious is not – he's not ready yet. He should not be a starter. And Goran does not work with Fred. That combination doesn't work anymore. The 2-point guard starting thing has to die. It has to die today. I don't want to see us start a small guard. There should never be a starting lineup of Fred and Malachi. There should never be a starting lineup Fred and Goran. There should never be a starting lineup Goran and Malachi. There should only be ever just one of those guys in the starting lineup. If you play them together later, just mess around because of something with matchups, or you see something where a 2-guard lineup could really hurt the other team, then go right ahead. But at the beginning of the game, you're instantly giving the other team a size mismatch against us by having 2 small guards out there, especially against a team like Boston that's going to probably start Smart, Tatum, and Brown. And that's not going to be – we need to get a tall guy out there. OG should be our starting shooting guard tonight. That's what I'm saying. Shooting better be better. I don't see how it can't be, Darren. Good morning to you. I don't see how it can't be better. We pretty much struck the bottom of the barrel. We're going to miss dunks. We're going to miss layups. We're going to miss OG open three-pointers. That stuff's not going to happen normally. It'll all kind of get sorted out with nerves and just getting better chemistry and stuff. Like their spacing is going to be way better tonight. I'm going to expect way better passing and way better chemistry in general. And I think that Nick really does need to think about the combinations he's putting out there, and that maybe he needs to look at his bench this year as being like a toolbox. Like he has role players on his bench. He's got the Sam Decker tool. He's got the Goran Dragic tool. He's got, the Isaac Bonga tool. He's got these different tools that he can put in. Justin Champagny for the situations. And I think that he really needs to stick with our established starters as much as possible. The guys like Fred, OG, Pascal, Chris Boucher, Kem Birch, Gary Trent. These are guys from our core from last year that did really well in our system and played really well together. So why wouldn't we go off of our established base from last year, the things that worked from last year, instead of throwing all these new guys in all at once and just expecting them all to have good synergy? No. Gary Trent will play better with Fred VanVleet in the starting lineup than Goran Dragic will, because they played more together and they showed that they had some synergy last year. So I don't want to see these Miami guys in the starting lineup. If this happens tonight, I'll be like, ugh, and I'll just see what happens and hope that they succeed still, because I don't have a horse in this race. I don't give a shit if I'm wrong or not. Nick Nurse is going to do whatever he wants to do. But I hope that he figures this out. Because what I see is Chris Boucher is a veteran who blossomed last year, who is an offensive threat. And Pascal is out. Chris should be in his place. Chris Boucher should be the starting power forward tonight because he does the length. He does so many good things for us. And he's a vet. And he improved his game this summer. And he's hungry. And maybe he shouldn't have played in the first game. But if he's going to play, I'd like him to start tonight, because that's a great look from the starting lineup. You have him out there with Birch and Barnes and Anunoby. Those 4 guys with Fred, that's a very nasty defensive team. So I really want this tonight. And if Nick's smart, this is what he'll do. All right, guys, let's see. Paul B says Fred, Gary, OG, Barnes, and Kemp. That's a great lineup, too. I'm okay with switching Boucher for Gary Trent, too. That's fine, because I like this whole idea kind of Gary Trent being instant offense off the bench. Paul Jones called him like the new age microwave, Vinny Johnson from the old Detroit days this week. And I like that assessment because Gary Trent could be that kind of guy that just heats up and comes in the game and gives us like 10, 15 points off the bench all of a sudden really quick with his threes and stuff. So, but you know what? I love Gary starting too. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with your lineup or my lineup, Paul. Seriously. But it needs to be something like that. And there definitely doesn't need to be no Precious tonight. Like, if he starts Precious again tonight, I'm going to be worried about Nick Nurse and what he's doing this year. Delano and Goran off the bench. Yes. And that's the thing. You got these two little guys, Goran and Malachi, and then you got Delano. You have three different looks for a point guard that you need at any time. If you need a shooter point guard that maybe plays off the ball with Scotty Barnes running the point, you put Malachi out there off the bench. But if you need a calming venture influence, somebody who can calm the team down in that moment, get Goran out there. That way you don't start both Fred and Goran. So you have one vet in the starting lineup, and then you have another vet that comes in with the bench team, because you're going to need vets. We're a young team. We need these veteran guys out there on the floor all the time. And if you're playing them at the same time, it kind of loses the effect, So I like that. And then Delano as another look as a point guard off the bench. That's a whole other kind of point guard off the bench kind of look. So Nick really should think about having that kind of a utility difference in the point guards he brings off the bench for what he's wanting to do. Yeah, Boston has a good C. Robert Williams is no joke, and we're going to have to contain him. That's why I kind of like this idea of Birch and Boucher starting tonight, because you get both the looks. You get the physicality of Birch, and then you get the length and the quickness of Boucher. And that can cover up a lot of problems of us not having a true center. That's what I keep saying. Birch and Boucher as a combo together down low is basically like having a big center, because they can work together in tandem, and they work really well together. In that fourth quarter in the last game, they were two of the guys down low that were holding it down around the basket the best when we were doing that positionless defense, and it worked really well, and they're the reasons. So let's see. Darren, so going to tough test. Horford burned Barnes from 3 last time. Well, I don't think Horford's going to play tonight because he does have COVID, and he's listed as out right now, but they said there's a possibility he could play tonight. So he could show up, but he is coming off of COVID protocols. So basically he missed all the time in between when we played them all the way up till now. So hopefully Horford won't be out there to burn us, as you put it, because, yeah, we do need better D just all around. Precious needs reps off the bench. I really want Precious. I don't want him to be like boxed in like Miami did last year, where they didn't let him do a whole bunch of stuff. I want him to be off the bench, but it's a really specific kind of role. Like, I want him to be an aggressive guy off the bench, a guy, like I said in the last one, maybe he needs to be like a Charles Oakley. Like, him and Birch together may need to be putting people on the floor or using a little of their muscle. In past years, Serge did this for us. Serge was such a good enforcer on the down low. Nobody messed with our team when Serge was around because, he's so nice and casual, but nobody messed with us because Serge was an enforcer and he's very strong. We need somebody to step up like that because we can't have guys like Montrezl Harrell killing us down low. Just that's so easy. That is a big problem, whether it's Drummond, Embiid, Jokic, Harrell, any of these guys. We just need somebody who's going to be physical with these guys and show them that we have an edge of like a tough guy. And right now, I'm not sure who our tough guy is. It could be Precious. I'd love for it to be Precious. And OG's a very strong man too. But OG's not really the character kind of type. It should be either Birch or Achua that is our enforcer this year. One of those two guys. And if one of these guys isn't going to do it, maybe we have to trade for an enforcer. Maybe we need to get an enforcer because this is a role that's essential for a championship team, is an enforcer. And if we don't have an enforcer already on the roster, that is something I'd like to trade for, is a real enforcer, like somebody that really makes people worried when they come to the basket. So, all right, Paul B. I like Rondé Hollis Jefferson, but much more active. You mean in relation Rondé Hollis Jefferson as an enforcer? I'm not sure. Rondé was great for us in some ways, but we upgraded. I honestly thought that Bembry was an upgrade over Hollis Jefferson in some degrees. But we've gotten more upgrades now. Like we have Scotty Barnes in that spot now. So it's like we get better and better around that position in the team. Let's see, MK, we need to trust our one-on-one defense this game because Tatum can really pass. Yeah. Well, if OG's on Tatum and Barnes is on Brown, we get to match up with these guys pretty good one-on-one. You're exactly right. And that's the thing. We're going to need to make sure there's so many things we need to do better. That's why I really want to bring these established guys in, these guys that really know what they're doing, that they're vets, so we can do it really clean and nice. And like I said, Scotty can start still because he plays clean enough and that he can fit in with it. If it's just him with 4 vets, then it looks good. But if it's him with 2 new guys from Miami in the starting lineup, it's not going to look good. It's going to look like a hot pile of garbage, like it did in the first game. And that's the beginning of the game is so important. The beginning of the game is so important to the Raptors right now. Like if we don't get off to a good start, we start in a deficit, and we have to try and come back. That's not good because this is a different team this year. Like the whole way we used to come back on teams, like that Dallas game, that famous Dallas game around Christmas a couple years ago, we're not going to be able to do that kind of stuff and maintain leads. Like we have to learn all this stuff over again, like how to win close games and manage time at the end of the game. We need to learn about getting a lead and holding it and not letting a team come back on us. There's baby steps we got to do that I was hoping we wouldn't have to do, but we're going to have to do all over again with our new team. So, all right, for Precious. Oh, okay. Yeah, for Precious, like Rondé Hollis Jefferson, that kind of energy, just scrappiness, just physicality, really. It's just like being really physical and being all up in their face, like maybe pushing somebody on the floor, like if they're coming to the basket or if they're, that's the thing. Somebody needed to bump Montrezl Harrell. The most enforcer kind of thing I saw in the first game was Delano. It was interesting. There was a point near the end of the game where Bradley Beal was shooting free throws, and Delano walked right through him at the free throw line and said something to him. I don't know what he said on the down low, but that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's just having an attitude and saying, like, look, we're going to make you respect us. You're going to respect our court. You're going to respect us as a team. And right now, because of the way we started the season, people aren't going to do that. This is going to be the old way people used to respect the Raptors, the way before Kyle and DeMar. And that's not good. We don't need that. We need them to respect us. And if they don't, they're going to laugh at us and they're going to treat us like that Washington did on Wednesday. And that's not good. We don't want that. Okay, Darren. Need the long arm lineup sometimes. Like that's what I'm saying. Start Boucher and Birch at your 4 and 5. And then OG is your shooting guard and Scotty Barnes is your small forward. That's a nasty lineup. That's that 7-foot wingspan length all across the court. And these guys are vets. Like Chris Boucher, for all the talk last year about whether he should start or not, you know what? Maybe this year he should start. And maybe he should start with Kem, OG, and Pascal. Like those 4 guys with Fred, because I want us to be as tall as possible at all positions. And if Chris Boucher can play with Birch, there's nothing wrong with that. They don't mess each other's games up, which is a real luxury. And then these other guys can slot down further and play against shorter guys. Like Pascal on the playing against the 3 of the other team, he's going to beat them every time because he's going to be way taller than the other guy or he's going to be way stronger. So that's what we got to think about, is really implementing our length, because that's our strength. Why are you going to start 2 short guards if we got this long, tall ass roster all of a sudden? It just doesn't make sense, Nick Nurse. Come on, get your head out of your ass. No more Goran, please. All right, let's see. Darren. Let's see, long arm lineup like Delano, OG, Precious, Barnes, Yuta, Svi, Decker, all those guys. That's what I'm saying. Goran Dragic is an interesting piece on this team, but I think we really need to specialize what we're using him for. I don't think he should start, first of all, and I don't necessarily think he should maybe be a regular rotation player. Like I'd much rather have Delano be our backup point guard, or even Malachi than Goran. I think Goran really should just be a steadying veteran presence for when our guys are getting a little wild out there, put him out there to help calm them down or something like that. But if he's not going to fit, see, the problem is Goran so far does not feel like a fit for our team. You know, in some ways, the way he plays and stuff like that is not fitting with what we do. And that's part of why we're not starting well when he starts, is that he doesn't fit our system and what we're doing right now. Him and Fred don't have very good chemistry. If you've noticed that. Fred and Goran's chemistry is not that good right now. It's definitely not like Fred and Kyle. So that's a big detriment to me. And I don't like it. I just don't like it. And the easy fix is start taller guys. All right, let's see. Delano's from Rexdale. That's why. Push off Tatum every possession. Yes, we want to frustrate them. Like in that preseason game against Boston, we really frustrated Tatum. Tatum was getting really annoyed because he realizes he doesn't just have OG bugging him like in the bubble in that 7-game series. Now all of a sudden he's seeing these other guys around him now with like Delano and Scotty and Precious. And he's like, this isn't going to be fun. Playing Toronto is going to be less and less fun as they get their shit together. And he realizes that. So hopefully we can frustrate him that as much as that too. So that'd be great. All right, let's see. They may need to try and raise Goran's value. It's a balancing. Yeah, I could see that. You know, I had a thought that just came to me yesterday. What about this, guys? We're playing Dallas tomorrow. Dallas is coming to Toronto tomorrow. And Luka's going to be there. Mark Cuban's going to be there maybe. And all their centers that are very attractive to us are going to be there. And Toronto's been known to make a deal when in person with somebody. There is a good chance that we make a deal tomorrow with Dallas or in the next couple of days after we play Dallas, that Goran is going to get traded because he should be with Luka. His interview yesterday, he was talking about how he's known Luka's dad. Like he played with Luka's dad when he was 15 and that he's known Luka since he was 5 years old and that he's really a part of their family. He wants to play for Dallas. He should be in Dallas. So hopefully maybe when Dallas comes here tomorrow, we can wheel a deal and maybe we get a center. Like, wouldn't it be nice if we could get Cauley Stein? I know you guys like Moses Brown, but I would love to get one of their more established guys that are already physical who can play a center for us. And that is kind of value. I mean, we may have to give somebody with Goran. I don't know. But I don't want to speculate too much. But because Dallas is coming to Toronto tomorrow, there is a chance, and I'm on the down low predicting that we may trade Dragic in the next week, guys. That the deal may get figured out tomorrow. So let's see here. Keep going. Yeah, and raising this draft value by playing him. Exactly. You're exactly right, G. It's like playing him showcases him and shows it. But you know what? Honestly, he hasn't looked totally good either. So it's like, I don't know. It could shoot you in the foot too. Okay, Barnes, Delano, and OG on Tatum. Everyone show different looks on him. Switch off on him. He's going to see that he's going to have to play against a long defender no matter who gets switched to him. If we go positionless in the second quarter tonight, instead of waiting till like the third or the fourth quarter to do what we did with Delano, if we do that early, it's going to be nasty. I'm going to love seeing that because I want to see that more. It's like when we got that taste of it on Wednesday night, I'm like, ooh, this is fun. Like, I like seeing us shut people down. And then Delano in the open court is so much fun to watch. Like, how much excitement is it when you see him just sprinting up the court with the ball and you know he's either going to go to the basket or pass it off to somebody and something good's going to happen? Because that's what's happening with him. He's so quick and fast on it and tall. It's going to be nasty. Delano is a sleeper, guys. I didn't realize how good he is. He's not really a second-round pick to me. To me, he's a late first-round pick. Maybe even like a mid first-round pick, his talent. Like, seriously, Masai did it again. I don't know how – we hid this guy from the rest of the world. Maybe they just gave him a Canada discount and didn't realize how good he's going to be because he's a very interesting talent. All right, let's see. That would be incredible. We could get some of their big men. Yes, they have so many centers, Dallas. They have like 4 or 5 centers right now. They could do that deal and make Luka happy. I really hope that Luka and Goran are in the half court tomorrow talking to each other before the game and they're just so happy. And the GM or people from Dallas say, look at how happy Luka is with Goran over there. And they're like, we need to make this deal today. Because I'd love to see this happen. And it could happen this way, guys, that Goran's gone this quick. So Here's the hoping in some ways, like seriously, because it would really help us. We get one more short guy off the team and we get a really tall guy. That'll be good because we'll get taller. All right, let's see. Or Van Boucher some picks for Luca. Yeah, that's wishful thinking. I don't even know if I do that still. Like I like investing in guys that we already invested with. I love Luca. Luca's a great player, and he would be awesome to have on a team. No, don't get me wrong, but I don't like switching people just for switching. Like that's a lot to give up for Luca, but could be good. I mean, Masai would probably know if what would be worth it or what would work with all that, and maybe have already looked into that. But you know that Mark Cuban will never give up Luka Doncic. He will never, ever, ever give him up because he knows he's a generational talent out of Europe, and that's too valuable. There's no way Mark Cuban moves him. But I'd have to honestly think about that deal, Paul. I mean, that's tough. All right, Darren. Dallas has got Goran for Moses and other center. Yeah. I mean, that's the deal we've all been talking about for a couple weeks, a couple months now. And I mean, hopefully it'll just happen finally. Come on, Mark Cuban, get with the program. Let's make everybody happy. Let's make Goran happy. Let's make Luka happy. Let's help us. Come on. We can make this all work out. Delano is the same height as Pascal. Yes, this is the thing, man. If we go positionless, and I'm sorry, Fred, if we go positionless, we may have a lot of huge advantages that just can't be ignored. That, it may be that this is the thing. Fred's got to make shots. Fred's got to prove that he's that steady Freddie leader that we need. And if he's not, then, I don't want to put him on the bench to hurt his confidence, but we might have to starting a tall lineup with Barnes or Banton at the point guard. Because you can do that. You could start Scotty Barnes at the point guard with like Gary Trent and OG and Pascal and Kem, and that's a nasty lineup. So Fred's really got to get his game together because in some ways he's on notice. He's on notice for like, look, if you're not going to hit your shot, if you're going to play hot garbage and we're going to lose like we did on Wednesday, then we can't, you're really going to have to figure out where your place is on this team. Because like I keep saying, nothing is given on this team. Nick Nurse is going to switch people around according to what they're doing. And I know Fred's going to succeed because he's a pro and he does everything right. It's just that Wednesday was an aberration. He's going to come out there and he's going to kill it. Like I'd love to see Fred get 30-something points tonight and just kill the Celtics in all kinds of different ways. So we'll see. All right, let's see what else is going on here. Apparently, if Delano waited 1 year, he would have gone the first round. That's what I read. So I could see that. Teams don't want to take a chance on projects. It's the same thing with Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes would have been a first pick in the draft if he had started last year because Leonard Hamilton doesn't start freshman, and he made him come off the bench. That actually made like his trade value go down. Just that dumb little thing about that. I'm glad we didn't think about that because I think Scotty Barnes was the number one pick in this draft. If he had played, like seriously, all right, like you said, if he played one more year at Florida State next year, he'd definitely be the number one pick next year. So that's just how it is. Darren, trade machine it. 19 million for Goran, 3 pieces for 1. So wait, we get 3 pieces and we send Goran. Is what you're saying. I get it because that's a lot of salary, 19 million. That's why Mark is not doing this deal, Mark Cuban, is because he knows that that's a lot of salary to try and match up on the other side from them to send to us. 19 million is a lot of salary. It's not going to be just Moses Brown. It's going to have to be a couple guys. And he may not want it. Yeah, it's a hard deal to make. That's totally true. And that's why he's not going to do it probably. Like, I think he's just going to let it ride for this year, and then he'll get him on the cheap when his contract's up in the summer. So, yeah, if Cuban's in town, they're going to meet. They may be in the Drake Club, sitting in there having a little drink and talking it over. All right, Fred is useful because he's really good at deflections and getting loose balls. Plus, we need shooting. Yes, I totally agree. I don't want to get it wrong. Listen. I love Fred. I want Fred to completely succeed. I'm not down on Fred. I don't want Fred to like lose his starting job. I'm just talking reality, guys. Like if it's going to be like it was in that first game, same with OG. OG can't do that, but I know he's not going to do that over and over again either. Both those guys will never shoot that badly for a long time. And if they do, that's when they got to really seriously be considered to take out the starting lineup, because we've got guys that will take those spots and produce way better. That's the thing. It's about production. These minutes go to certain people for production. And if those guys aren't producing, scoring, 12 points for your leading scorer is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. With all these guys and what we were doing last year, we had Stanley Johnson get a 30-point game last year. We had Jalen Harris come in and get a 30-point game last year. We had so many different people have huge games last year. Nobody stepped up and had a huge game on Wednesday. And what was that? We don't expect the rookies to do it, even though Delano did. He was the only one who had a huge game. So it's like, Fred, you're getting a lot of chances. You have a lot of leash, but this isn't the first way to set the tone. And this made me realize that, yes, you are vulnerable yourself. And he's got to make the shots, and you're exactly right. He does so many good things. We'd much rather have him playing successfully than not playing successfully, because he is a really good, useful player. We just need new, taller players around. Yes, everybody else has to be at least 6'5" and up around him. Gary Trent is the shortest guy that can play next to him in the backcourt. I'm sorry. That should be the rule. That should be the rule. We're just too used to playing this Kyle and Fred stuff, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I didn't like it when they were doing it, and they were good at it. I didn't like it then because it went against my basketball sensibilities. It's like we're giving the other team an advantage. Like every time, I know we get advantages from doing it that way too, but the disadvantages we get from playing Kyle and Fred or two short guards is really, really on the down low, a hurt that has hurt us for a long time. Okay, let's see. Fred and OG shot really bad. Yeah, 8 for 37. Just don't cut it, y'all. Don't cut it. And a lot of those shots will go in normally because there's like I said, layups that just rolled out or open shots that just didn't go in. This year was probably one of the best drafts in a while. And you know what? The drafts aren't going to get much better and better. This is the thing with the NBA, that they really drain the talent at a lower level now because they have these kids come in so young, like Scotty Barnes, or straight from high school, is that we don't have this level of talent go 4 years in college all of a sudden. So we see them coming up and we're expecting them to come through. We're like the kid who goes and rushes and opens all the Christmas presents before Christmas is even happening. We found them in the closet where mom stole them, and we're opening all the presents way before we should. That's what's happening with this whole draft system with the NBA and stuff like that. So there's no surprises. There's nothing coming up. And in some ways we drain real talent from what's coming into the league. And like people are saying now, what the Raptors do with their development in 905 is essential because it's basically the program of going to a 4-year college, is that kind of stuff. So if a team doesn't have a development system like the Raptors, you're getting a bunch of players that are coming straight from high school that have no college experience or kind of development that you would have gotten in college. So that's a big difference in the NBA. And this is a part of the reason why a lot of NBA players aren't fundamentally sound or good basketball players in a lot of ways, because the system is the way it is now with the draft. So, yeah, I don't expect – this is the thing. Everybody who's saying we need to tank to get a lottery pick this year, they're stupid because there's no good lottery this year. The draft this year is not that good. Like, it's not worth losing for to get somewhere. There's no Embiid to lose to get or something like that. There's no superstars coming up. The drafts are going to get worse and worse. So it's not it's not good to tank to get in the lottery because the lottery doesn't mean shit. Lottery picks will be just as good as like team picks or picks in the 20s now. So, all right, let's see. Okay, Kenny, we played 2 days ago. The season starts tonight. Yeah, I mean, can we get a restart? Can we have a mulligan on that first game, please? And just act like tonight the season starts? I like your attitude, Kenny. I'm behind that. Second game, Celtics. Let's go, baby. Yes, we got something to prove. And this is a great opponent to prove it to. And that's the thing. If we do really well tonight, it'll be so sweet that it's over somebody like the Celtics. That kind of overcoming your adversity against an opponent that you really hate, it makes it so, ooh, I hope all of us are like on a natural high tonight by around 10 o'clock. That we're just like, yes, this is the real team. Because, going into Boston and beating Boston in Boston, especially on their home opener, is a huge accomplishment. Huge accomplishment. Because, first of all, the NBA is going to do everything possible to help the Boston Celtics win tonight. The refs may have been fair to us in the preseason game, but they may not be fair tonight because this is one that counts. So we really need to get on them and beat them bad so that there's no kind of like wiggle room for the refs to mess with us at the end of the game with calls. That's why I always say we got to get a good lead. That's why we need to blow them out. We get 20-point leads, we can win games easier. Because even with 10-point leads or less, the referees will manipulate the game to try and help the other team get back into it at the end of the game. So we really got to watch that. And like I said earlier, this game's going to be about winning small battles here and there. Like whether it's a matchup battle or it's just defensive battle, a rebound battle, a 50-50 struggle to get the ball on the court battle. We win these little battles throughout the game. They all accumulate to one big W over the Green Monster in the Green Arena. That is called TD Arena, by the way, which means Toronto Dominion means we own their arena. Okay. All right. Let's see. Wiz, first game in OG. Yeah, they shot really bad. Good morning, Sue. Good morning. Oh, it's okay. The Raps arrived late to their season, too. So hopefully we can all arrive tonight. Let's see. Gee, I'm sure Fred and OG put a lot of pressure on themselves as a first home game in 600 days. I imagine they'll be back there. I noticed this before the game on Wednesday. They were showing OG on the bench when a lot of people were out shooting around still, and he was just quietly sitting on the bench, and he had a really weird expression on his face. I didn't really think much of it at that time, but I think what you're saying is true. That home game pressure of being back for the first time in front of the crowd. And like I said, the fans that were in the lower bowl were the kind of fans that were like, I'm here, please entertain me. They're not there to really cheer. They're just like, ooh, I want to be entertained and be in the experience. They're not really totally fans because they're paying $5,000 to sit next to the court and stuff like that. So that kind of energy and that kind of expectation of playing really well after not playing there for so long, I think that was a factor that we didn't even realize. And then you couple that with rookie nerves of guys that are, coming in and playing their first NBA game. It was just a bad recipe. And that whole opening ceremony with them calling all their names and welcoming everybody back, Fred getting on the mic and all that stuff, that's a long drawn out thing that gets in between their shoot around before the game and when the game actually starts. So that all that early game pageantry kind of stuff, it kind of messes us up sometimes, especially if it's emotional kind of crap. We're like, oh, we missed you and stuff. It messes up the mentality for the game. Meanwhile, we got the Wizards standing over their bench with waiting to draw blood. They're just like, they're standing over there growling, and we're having a love fest. We're like, oh, we're so glad to be back. Of course they trounced us. Of course they pounced all over us because we were all in our head about being emotional about being back, and they were being professionals and coming out, we're going to kill you, and we didn't do it. We did not do it. Okay, Darren, Raps are going to be a lot better sooner than later. The league is changing now. Superstars are all getting old. Yes, we're the future, baby. Those old other teams are old teams, and they're not the future. We're the future, and we're going into the future. It's just sometimes when you're going in the future, it's rough. You're experimenting, you're trying things, and you have trial and error. And what's happening is we got a little bit of error. But we can keep trial, and that success is going to come. But we're going to be innovating and going into new areas that most NBA teams won't dare to. So we've got to realize that there will be failure and success with doing that kind of stuff. When you're trying new things that nobody else has tried, you're going to have to figure out the kinks because you're the one building the blueprint. And they can not dare and stuff, but we'll get the gains from it because we're going to get huge gains from when we figure it out and we're good at it because we'll be ahead of everybody else. So I really believe what you're saying, Darren. I think it's totally true. This league is changing. It's changing from a big three superstar type league that Kevin and Durant and LeBron James kind of figurehead, and it's changing to more of a team first game again with a lot of balance. And Giannis is kind of symbolic of the new NBA. Of what it is. So, yeah, G, for sure. Hopefully this was the case, being too emotional. Yeah, I think it did hurt us. I think it was part of what happened. other than us not just being able to shoot a shot or make a shot or anything. Gee, I felt pressure for them. So I couldn't imagine what they felt. Yeah. So that's the thing. We want to keep it light. Like at the preseason games, there wasn't any stakes and it was kind of light and everything was just fun. When it's like that for the team, they can really play loose and fun. That's good. This is like, and we want them to have success so they can feel that looseness and easiness about how they're doing things and stuff like that. But when it's like there's failure, then you have to really analyze and look at yourself, and it's not as fun. So we want to get back to the fun again somehow, some way. Maybe it's not making things so difficult and the schemes we're doing, everything more simple, then things will be better. So sometimes going back to the basics really helps the team get back on track. So, all right, let's see. MK, when Delano hit that half-court shot, it popped the bubble. Oh, my gosh, yes, it did. That's the thing. And maybe Nick Nurse realized that, like, not only is Delano a great weapon as a fast-paced open court point guard with height, he's also a crowd pop. Like if he feels like the crowd's not into the game or we're kind of like we don't have good energy, he can just put Delano in the game and the arena will go crazy. It's that point now. So it's like he's got kind of like a stick of dynamite to throw in there to get things exciting all of a sudden if things are kind of getting into a lull. And I like that. And that should be part of his role this year. That if we're starting wrong with the starting lineup I'm talking about, put Delano in as your sixth man and see what happens. See if we pick up energy like that. Just because the crowd's like, woo, or even on the road, he could give us that kind of spark just because the way he's playing. Earl Watson wants this man to run and not stop. He told them in training camp, he said, Delano, you'd be so much better if you just push it. Just push it. Push it right down them. Go right through them because we've seen you dribble, your handles. You can get around guys. You can get that behind the back dribble. You can do this, you can do that and get around guys. And you're long enough, you can just spread out when you're close enough to the basket and lay it in if you can't drop it off to somebody else. So push it and just go and don't be afraid to. Don't be tentative. And that's the thing. I think that he's getting some people. It's like sometimes rookies in other sports, like whether it's baseball with pitching or in the NBA, other teams don't understand them and they expect them to be tentative. Well, everybody expects Delano just kind of let the game come to him and be a little shy. No, he's going to come aggressive at you and he's going to come right at you. And you're going to be like, what the hell? Who's this kid? Where'd he come from? That kind of stuff. I like that. Freddie was embarrassed after the game. He took responsibility. Yeah. Well, he's the accountability for the whole team. He's going to have to be accountable for himself because it's the same thing. He has to be the same way for himself that he's going to beat all of them because he can't hold other guys accountable if he can't hold himself accountable. So he's definitely – it's not that he played horrible, guys. He played okay in the game. It's just he didn't shoot well. And we need him to shoot well. We need him to make baskets. Or if he's not going to shoot well, he needs to facilitate somebody else to shoot well. Somebody's got to shoot well. It's either got to be him or OG until Pascal gets back. Because those guys are our lifeline to get offense if we're not getting any offense. It has to be one of our established three guys, OG, Pascal, or Fred, and maybe Chris Boucher. Maybe Chris Boucher is that guy, that fourth guy that helps us get out of it. Because the rookies shouldn't have that responsibility yet. Gary Trent, if he wants to step up and try and take that responsibility, I'm all for it. Go for it, Gary. But somebody's got to step up when we're getting in those bad points. And maybe they should have put Decker in for instant offense the other night. That probably would have been a smart move. See, but we're focusing on tonight. We saw what we did wrong on Wednesday, and hopefully we can fix a lot of it for tonight. Yeah, Delano's not scared. He is a pro already. He has real focus. He has maturity. He's making good decisions. He doesn't really turn the ball over too badly. And different than Scotty. Scotty makes a lot of risky passes, but Delano's passes are pretty like safe most of the time. Like in the preseason, he threw a couple kind of half-ass passes and they got cut off, but he's cut that out. He's not doing it from what I've seen recently. Gary's defense was much better already. Yeah. That's a big thing about Gary. Gary will get time as long as he's not dogging it on defense. He dogged it on defense a couple times last year, but for the most part so far this year, he's bought in and he's really showing that defensive side of his length and because he's a taller guard. He should be able to guard the guy he's on and be a little bit taller than them or the same height. So it's good. I want Gary to play a lot. I want Gary and Kem to play a lot because they're really our middle guys between the rookies and our vets. And I'd like them to be more like our vets because we're going to need them with their experience. Really, we really need their experience out there. And I think that they should play more than guys like Goran Dragic and possibly Precious right now. Precious will play more eventually, but right now Precious is like, he's got to be a little more controlled. Let's just put it that way with what he's doing and a little more thinking about like what he's doing with his body with control and stuff like that. Because he's not his footwork and his what he's doing isn't exactly right. Precious. Okay, let's see. Sue Banton had that great move that he got going around Beal and went right by him. It was awesome. I know he is really quick. And like, because he's tall, he can see the whole situation fast. This is the thing. And even the Washington broadcasters on Wednesday were pointing this out, Drew Gooden and the other guy. They were saying that these rookies on Toronto are veteran type, like they have veteran views of the court. They can see the whole court and read the whole court to make the passes that a lot of players, even like 10 years into their NBA careers, don't have that kind of perception of the court. So we've got two young guys, rookies, that can already see the court really well and make crazy passes. This is one of the things that our assists are going to be much better once they see the court and they connect with everybody really well. Like the old stuff that Lowry did, like I call them like quarterbacking, when he threw it full court to guys and stuff like that. Imagine when Scotty Barnes and Delano get good enough to be confident enough to do those full court passes like Kyle used to do. That kind of stuff is going to come. They're going to be better and better with their passing. And I love the fact that they come into the league already with the vision of the court, because that's something that not all players have. And to have it like as rookies and two of them, that's huge, 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 huge. That means really good things for assists. There ain't going to be many 14 assist games like that game on Wednesday this year. No, that is absolutely unacceptable. And that is just strange how that could happen. Seriously, with the team we got, 14 assists. That's just insane. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. Darren, GTJ playing hard D. Happy to see it. Yes, that'll get him playing time. The Wizard commenters said that. That's impressive. Yeah, they were saying that they really the things that they were saying about Scotty were good. Like they were talking about how this kid is really not like a rookie. That like he was making decisions on the court that a vet would make. That like, you know, there were plays that he was doing against Washington that were veteran moves. Like as far as what he was doing, stuff that most rookies don't know usually. And Drew Gooden saw that in him. And he said, this kid's a very special player because he's doing a little bit of everything in different places. They were very complimentary of Scotty. Yeah, they were. I try not to listen to them because at a certain point, they just start gloating and they start like talking about how great Washington's going to be this year and what they expect from him. I just turn the volume down and then I just watch it from my eye. I don't like having their influence of what they're saying. I'd much rather watch the Toronto guys, but for some reason I only had the Washington feed. So anyway, let's see. Darren, Precious needs bake time as a pick and roll defender. I think that Precious just needs I think that he needs structure. I think that Precious needs a little bit of structure, but for him to grow and be creative with his game and stuff like that. But I think he needs a little more structure. Like, I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday about how these big guys, I think it was Brian or somebody who brought it up, saying that these big guys that dribble the ball up the court are very dangerous. Like Kem Birch got his pocket picked a couple times. And Precious is good at dribbling the ball up court. And I love it when he gets all the way up and he gets a dunk, like bringing the ball back from a rebound. That's great. But at times when he does bring the ball up the court in the open court, unlike Delano, he can get a little like loose with his dribble or a little out of control. Like when he's getting closer to the basket, he can't really control whether he's going to be susceptible to getting charges, like or like, you know, offensive fouls because he's so out of control. A veteran defender will be able to step in front of him and he'll get called for a foul every time. So he's really got to get more control. And if he's going to fast break and bring the ball up himself and try and do that stuff, he has to get himself reined in. I know he keeps saying this the last couple of days, but it's true. Precious is really like, He needs to hone his skills as a professional and really like think about what he's doing, like with conscious thought. Like, I'm doing this because this will get me to this place, so I'll get open and then I'll make this shot. Instead of just like, I'm going to bull right through you and just try and make this shot. I'd much rather him be aggressive with his defense and like all up on people than with his offense. I saw him bull himself to the basket on the baseline in the first game, and he made the shot. But I was also like, man, that's going to be like, he's going to get fouls a lot trying to do that against guys. He's going to just run right into somebody and they're going to be offensive foul, turnover. So, yeah. Bradley Beal said he was a Scotty fan. I think a lot of people are going to be saying that this year. This is the thing, and this sucks because he's going to be popular. I don't want him to be like Vince. All right, I want to talk about this right now because Vince Carter, when he came into the league, he became like, he wasn't really a Toronto Raptor guy. He was an NBA guy. He was like buddies with everybody. He was buddies with Paul Pierce. He's buddies with all the different players around the league, and he made it the whole NBA Friends League. And I hated that because like in the 80s, when Barkley would play people, he hated them. In the 80s, when Bird and Magic played each other, they hated each other. They weren't all buddies and smiley and after the game and all that stuff. I hope Scotty doesn't go that route. I don't want Scotty to be one of these smiley NBA guys that's friends with everyone. So he needs to hate Bradley Beal still, even if Bradley Beal likes him, because I don't want him to be like Vince. I don't want him to be this like, oh, everybody's my friend. Oh, we lost. But everybody's my friend. No, I hate that. That's not a competitor. That's somebody who's just trying to be friends with everybody in the league and just like be in a bigger fraternity. And there's a certain degree of that in the NBA, and that's fine. But when you're on the court and when it's all about competition and maybe just like being for your team and stuff, all that stuff needs to go out the window, because I feel like that just kind of messes you up. Bird and Magic are friends now, but they weren't friends when they used to play. No, they weren't. They hated each other. And we need that more in this league. There's too many buddy, chummy kind of things going on in this league. This isn't the NBA Friends League. This is the NBA. So, yeah, but Bradley, they know good stuff. They can see it, and they'll respect it for sure. Raps are fourth to seventh youngest team in the league. Not sure the exact numbers are somewhere in. I heard that if you take Goran off our team, we become the fourth youngest team. That we're like the seventh youngest team with Goran. But if we take Goran out of the equation at 35 years, we drop all the way down to the fourth youngest team in the league. So, yeah, that's indicative of our experience and who we are. But I think we have more experience in some ways than other teams just because of our championship pedigree and the championship guys that have been there. So it's deceiving. If you look at our average age, you may think, oh, this is a really young and experienced team. But that's not exactly true. You can't really put it that way. Precious okay on O. Nurse is going to pull him back a bit as D in the paint is weak. Yeah. See, this is the thing. Precious is really good, raw, physical player. But if you're not doing the fundamentals of defensive rebounding and playing defense in the low post, you'll look like Aaron Baines out there. That open door policy where guys will just go around him and dunk, and he's not putting his body on anyone. He's not holding anyone. He's too thin out there. We want his body to feel thick and clogging things up down around the basket. And right now he's like he's too thin. It's like they can go right by him. They're going right around them. Too easy. And I want it. And part of that is just putting a forearm out, hitting somebody. This is what I'm talking about. We need him to Oakley. We need him to be a physical guy and like scare people. Like Serge Ibaka made people think twice about coming into the paint against us. We need him to do that, whether it's with blocking or I'm going to hit your ass and put you on the floor. Those are important things, a role on this team that we need filled. And Precious could be that guy. He's just got to focus his energy that way. He's just got to be like, Precious, we need you to put some asses on the floor. That's what we want you to do tonight. So hopefully they do that. I'd really like that to happen. Paul B, I wish Nurse had used more men last game. Yeah, I could see that. Now, this is the thing. If they're going to do – all right, the Celtics played against the Knicks in a double overtime game in their first game, and they only played 9 guys. They had a 9-man rotation for a double overtime game. If they do that and we play like 12 guys in our rotation tonight, we could really overwhelm them with energy. But it's going to be about Nick Nurse, and he said this actually in the presser yesterday. I think it was yesterday or the day before. He wants his players to signal to him when they've lost their wind. He wants them to tell him as soon as they lost or win. There's none of this proud thing I'm going to play through even though I don't have my win. He wants them to come right out because he wants them especially fresh because he's going to bring them right back in. But he just wants whenever one of our guys loses their breath, or he's going to bring them right out and put somebody else in. This is something he wants to do this year. So it could be that guys are playing like 5 to 10 minute stints instead of 15-minute stints or something like that in the game. Like they're playing shorter stints and going all out for shorter bursts, but rotating guys in and out quicker. Like I hope that's what we see tonight. That's what he said he's going to do. So we'll see. But he's like relying on guys to have the wherewithal in their head to say, Coach, I'm too tired to take me out. And some of these guys will like act like they're okay and keep playing, even though they probably are winded on the down low. So he's got to really watch this. This is something he has talked about in the last couple of days that hopefully we'll see a big change. Because if the Celtics are only going to run 9 players in their rotation, we can really mess them up. So I like this. I like this idea of like using more guys, what Paul's saying. Let's just win. Raps have first win culture, not a problem being too friendly. Yeah, I agree. We're like that. We're like that now. But that really was DeMar and Kyle and Fred now. But yeah, even the Bosch years, Bosch was too friendly NBA kind of guy. And that's what led to the South Beach decision was that whole NBA friends, we're all friends. You know, I hate that mentality in the NBA. I really do. When people are too chummy with other people on other teams, especially rivals, it makes me really mad. It really does. Okay, G. The age thing is a bonus, in my opinion, with the championship DNA combo. This is really true. Honestly, G, this is really true on the down low. Because like I said in the other video this week, we're practicing way more because we're young. We don't have to recoup. We don't have to have days where everybody's icing their knees. And Kyle's gone. Kyle didn't like practicing. Kyle didn't come to training camp. We never really had a good, proper training camp when Kyle was on the team later in the later years because he just didn't want to come and be a part of it. So when you're missing an important piece like that in training camp, you lose something in training camp. So they got everybody in training camp, Fred, and they went hard. They didn't have Kyle saying, I'm tired, I don't want to practice today. So they went hard in training camp. And this is a big, big, big bonus. Coupled with the DNA combo of the championship, you're hitting a sweet spot right there, G. When we talk about energy and being able to practice more this whole year, this is the thing. They can get better faster this year because they are practicing all the time. Like when they flew to Boston last night, they didn't just go to their hotels last night. They have a new schedule. They go to the city and they go and shoot around that night. Like in the past years, if they flew to another city like they did yesterday, they just go to the hotels and have the rest of the day off. They're not doing that. They're going and practicing at night. They're practicing in the morning, the afternoon, and at night. They're doing 3-day practices on days when they don't have to play. So they're very committed to working a lot and often. And that hopefully we'll see good results because of all that hard work and practice very quickly. So we'll see. Yeah, true, G. It's soon, not 5 years, more like 2 or 3 years. I really think that the Raptors can win in the next 2 or 3 years. I still think they could win this year. If they really get their shit together and figure it out, we can surprise people and we can get really good fast. I really believe that. The aptitude of the learning from the rookies is really high. They know how to learn quickly and they're smart and they want to. Those are the combinations of things. They're smart, they want to, and they have good teachers. They're going to learn quickly and they're going to fix their mistakes very fast. Let's see. Paul B, this team feels like it's set up to win now in the future with the young core. Just got to get all the right pieces. Yeah, we can win now. It's just figuring out how to win. It's like Fred has the blueprint. He's seen it. He's been through it, but he's been through it at a different level of management. Now he has to be the main manager and guide the team through it. And he's seen that path may be different for him too. Now, one of the things I'm worried about tonight is for these rookies is the lights and the feeling of a full capacity arena on the road. Like if there were kind of nerves in the home opener with a friendly crowd, the one tonight may be a little tough too. And this is part of the reason why I don't want a lot of young guys starting. I'm okay with Scotty starting because Scotty does so much good for us. But really, really seriously, like we got to see if Precious is starting tonight because I don't think I think if we really shoot ourselves in the foot, we start Precious again tonight. So we need Siakam scoring. And oh, please come back soon, Pascal. We need you back. Yuta, we need you back too. All right, guys, I don't really know what more to say. We just got to out-scrap and outwork Boston tonight. Like I said, win little victories throughout the game, little battles throughout the game, and hopefully they all add up to a big win. If we out-rebound them, we can beat them in transition points. We can beat them in points off turnovers. If we can beat them in how many turnovers we have less turnovers. All these things will lead up to, and of course, shooting better than them. We need to shoot better than the team we're playing against. The sun just came out and is shining on me all of a sudden. Hopefully that's a sign for tonight. All right, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for joining me this morning on this Friday. Let's just beat the Celtics tonight. Let's get that good feeling right around 10 o'clock where we're just like, yeah, we're back on track, baby. This is the real Raptors. Wednesday wasn't the real team, and this is the real Raptors and the real, like, potential of dangerous that the Raptors can be. And if we do beat them big last night, or if we do beat them big tonight, or beat them well tonight, the NBA may take a little notice of us a little bit, but they'll probably poo-poo it too. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining me. Have a great Friday. Let's just beat the Celtics. Oh my gosh, it'll feel so much better. But I'll be back tomorrow between 8 and 11 for a recap and a preview of Dallas. So, okay. All right. Be proud, Raptors. We're going to have a good game tonight. I really believe it.